those affected by the Palisades fire, I know today is terrifying and it is painful. Please know that you are not alone. The County of Los Angeles and all of our partners are here together to stand with you and be in support of you.
LA County Supervisor Lindsay Horvath speaking this afternoon at Will Rogers State Beach after a briefing for the Palisades fire. The supervisor joined by Governor Newsom, members of the LA City Council, the LAPD, LA City Fire, LA County Fire Chief as well, all part of a joint response.
And Supervisor Horvath joins us now with more. And Supervisor Horvath, we saw you there, with that unified command. It was incredible to see, all of that support that we're getting and the information. What did you see, though, when you were on the ground?
It's terrifying, and I understand why people are concerned. I understand why people hesitate to follow evacuation orders when they're thinking about their homes, but we need people to be thinking about their safety and the safety of our first responders. These evacuation orders keep families safe, they keep people safe in these neighborhoods, but they also keep the people safe who are trying to access these neighborhoods and get this fire under control. And in order for them to be able to do that, they have to be able to access some of these areas. And in order to do that, they have to get people out of those areas.
Yeah, without question, a world-class response effort underway here. Best firefighters, best mutual aid system in the world, no doubt. As it stands tonight, we know we've got resources from LA City, LA County Fire, and surrounding agencies. Tell us where the response stands tonight and what we can expect through the night.
Yes, earlier today we moved into unified command within 2 hours, and that just goes to show how city, county, state, and our federal partners are all working together to address this ongoing crisis. We know that the worst is ahead of us. From 10 p.m. to 5 a.m., the winds are going to be even worse, and so we are working hard to make sure that the areas are evacuated. All of Topanga Canyon is under an evacuation order. Many areas are under evacuation warning, but I encourage people to be ready to move and move if you can, even before the order is in place, because some of these areas we just don't know how quickly the winds will shift and how the fire will spread. What we do know is that it's taking a lot of effort, and there are extraordinary people. This is certainly a calling. I saw this firsthand at the Franklin fire just before the holidays, and to see the magnitude of this fire and how people are coming together to address it and to keep people safe is nothing short of extraordinary.
Do you think that we were prepared?
Well, we worked months prior to, we hosted several community emergency preparedness events to educate the community. But of course, people sometimes don't absorb information about an emergency until it's here. So we work really hard to work with our fire departments, our law enforcement, and our Office of Emergency Management to ensure that people have access to the tools that they're going to need, especially knowing that power could go out, cellular service could go out, knowing how they're supposed to communicate with people in a time of crisis when they're not in the crisis is part of the training that we do when we do these community events. But we also know that in an area like the Palisades that is more densely populated than some of the areas where we've seen other fires, we know that it's going to be very complicated to address. And so as much preparedness as there is, there's still a lot of tragedy that happens. And I do know that our first responders are doing all that they can to make sure that that tragedy doesn't include loss of life.
You know, the vast majority of people in this situation in particular have heeded the evacuation orders. They've gotten out, but of course there are those who do not. They stick around. They feel they have a handle on the situation. We talk to them all the time. You can't force them to leave, but do you have a message specifically for those people that just refuse to leave and think that they're better off sticking at home and riding it out?
You know, I've heard from people who lived through Woolsey who wanted to educate me as I became their supervisor, that they weren't going to leave when the next big fire came, that they were going to defend their property to the best of their ability. And I didn't live through Woolsey in the way that they did. So I understand you have a personal experience that is informing some of how you're thinking. What I hope people will hear is even if you can't think about it for yourself, even if you're willing to put your own personal safety at risk, which you shouldn't, the personal safety of your community members and the personal safety of the people who are on the front lines fighting this fire, to put it out, to keep property safe, and to do the very thing that you're asking them to do, which is to keep your most precious valuables, the things that you've worked so hard to have in your life, to keep those things safe. They need to be able to do that job. And in order to do it, you need to evacuate. And so the most important thing that we can do is be partners to one another in this time of crisis. So really heeding those warnings and those evacuation orders is a critical component. We're all in this together. LA County, the city, the state are all working together. And so we need our community members to also work with us to keep themselves and each other safe.
We know that Mayor Bass was on a trip overseas for the U.S. government, and that when this broke out this morning, that she was making her way back to Los Angeles and was due to land in a few hours. Have you spoken with her yet? Has she arrived? Will we hear from her tonight?
I haven't spoken with her, but I do know that she was, I heard that she was traveling, but I do know that Councilmember Tracy Park and I have been coordinating closely. Acting Mayor, the Council President, Marqueece Harris Dawson, was also with us at the press conference today. I know that there are city officials who are front and center in making sure that this crisis is being addressed at the city level. We at the county have declared a state of emergency. I know the governor has as well, and we appreciate that. He also requested from the president, who's actually on the west side tonight, for his assistance. And so all levels of government are committed to making sure that people are safe and that every resource necessary gets deployed to protect people at this time of crisis.
Terrific points, and so many terrific points from Supervisor Horvath to the people specifically that refuse to get out. And I hear your point, and it's not often said publicly. You're putting firefighters at greater risk by staying behind. Thanks for pointing that out again. And Supervisor Horvath, thanks for taking the time.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.